week.
Oh my, just Cherie. We're good.
Okay, so what are your key takeaways from tonight?
Remember, you were listening to the word. I feel this is a good opportunity to share with the people, to see if you were actually listening to your wife preach tonight. So go ahead.
Oh man, it was a powerful word. I love the beginning intro story using Vans, the brand, skater brand Vans, and how their slogan, off the wall, this idea of living off the wall, being different, and then connecting that to the story of Nehemiah, how he was literally on the wall, off the wall, as he was called to rebuild the walls. And so I just think the whole concept, the way how you put that together, how you laid it down, it reminds me of how I would preach it. And so
Oh my.
I'm not judging that one.
We're just going to take credit.
So I think it was a solid word.
This is a good time to remind the people that I was preaching before you. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, you were.
Do you want to tell the people that?
Cherie was preaching before I was called to ministry.
Right. Good. Just leave it there.
Okay.
We're good.
All right,
Yeah,
we're good,
yeah.
As in weeks before, months before.
Oh
years
man,
before?
she was in her teens when she started preaching.
No, I think the first,
Eight, nine?
yeah, I think the first time I preached, I think it was probably like 10.
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
Yeah.
I knew you were before you were born.
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
Yeah, and then I did preaching when I was in high school. Yeah. Because some of us knew the Lord in high school. You know what I mean?
And we're grateful.
I think there was a
We're
diss.
grateful. Yeah, it was a low-key diss.
No, there's no low key.
Why are you throwing shade today? In
It
the sanctuary,
It was
too.
a direct shot. It was a
In
direct,
the sanctuary, you're
it was a
throwing
direct shot. It was a
shade.
direct
That's
shot.
all right.
I think one of the things that I loved about preaching here with this set of people today was just you can see that they resonated with how we connect with our community, and I think we do need to shift how we do that. I think sometimes as a church we try to be unique for no good reason, so we do things in a way that will tell people that we are different from them instead of actually finding ways that are effective to reach the people that we need to.
I think on that point, a lot of our Seventh-day Adventist churches are drive-in churches, and so we don't live in the community that our church is in, and so they see us once a week dressed all fancy, but they don't know us, and so even if we don't live in the community, I think that we can still foster a sense of being a part of the community. And Cherie touched on it. When they have events, programs, celebrations, be there. It's really simple. You don't even need money to do this type of ministry. It's the ministry of presence. The fact that they're out there, if they have a barbecue,
We should be there.
go there, be there, get
Bring
to
the
know
veggie
them.
dogs. You know what I mean?
But you gotta care.
But you do have to care.
Which is true.
And I think one of the things I know that for Lyle and I that we have, it irritates us to the core. I remember there was a couple years back, there was a big drive for friendship evangelism. And like that, friendship evangelism.
Okay.
I hated that concept because it seemed like multi-level marketing, the MLM kind of schemes where like I become your friend in the gym, and then you think we're friends, and like then I invite you to church, and then I try to get you baptized. It just feels so inauthentic. And to me, I think the best way that we can really share Christ with people is just to do life with them. And not because it's the fact that we want them baptized, but because we care about them. I think if we genuinely choose to care about people the way that Jesus did, the natural result is that we will see people come to the church. But we can't be out there serving them with the goal of baptism. We have to be out there with the goal of loving you just because you exist. And I think that's a big shift, I think, for our church.
It reminds me of a story of this famous humble rabbi. And he was well known in his community, well known. Everybody knew him, everybody loved him. And they were asking the community, why do you love this guy so much? And they said, he's with us for birthdays, he's with us for baptisms, he's with us for funerals, he is with
Part of the
us.
community.
Yeah, he shows up.
And I think that, like Adventist churches, we need to shift from this idea of evangelism, that it's just we're inviting people to this space.
Right.
Our churches are sacred buildings, but seeing it as we are the community. We are them. They are us.
Yeah.
And when they hurt, we hurt. And you touched on that. Nehemiah,
But you gotta care.
But
that's
you
true.
have to care.
That's true.
And then to be aware.
Yeah,
That's
I think one of the things is we're not aware of what's happening in the communities that our churches are at, or even our current communities. Because to me, I know that there are people who live in this community who are Adventists, who may not come to this church. But it doesn't matter if you come to this church or you don't come to this church. If Adventists in general just try to be a part of the communities where even they live, that alone would impact, you know?
But we have this, I think most or a large percentage of us have this us versus them
Mentality.
attitude. Many may not even be aware of it consciously, but
Yeah.
subconscious that's it.
It's true, and I think that we have to change our language. You know, this idea that we're going out into the community.
Terrible.
That they versus us.
Yeah.
It's our language. It's the
Exactly.
verbiage. And so you're right. Our mindset has to shift.
Yeah.
The church
values.
is not just this building here.
Yeah.
It's the community. It's people. It's Adventist. It's non-Adventist. And I think this is the thing. We're all interconnected. This idea of separation is an illusion to God. The fact that God, and I love this, the fact that God, when he says in Genesis that he says, let us create man in our image, that implies that there was a trinity, there was a community.
That's right.
So they created the world out of community. They created us, human beings.
Right.
So we are instinctively community.
Community.
We're already connected.
Yeah.
So this idea of community is connection. We're all, it's not just that's them. That's
Yeah.
This is us, the church. And we get caught up in attending church every Sabbath,
Right. Without
believing we're going to
impacting.
church, not realizing that we are the community.
Yeah.
That disconnectedness runs very deep in Adventism. I'm 67. Growing up in church, like you hear, this is secular music. This is sacred
Right.
music. It's like we divide our bodies up. Okay, this is a secular. This is school. This is this. This is
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Like we're one entity.
We're
I
one
know.
entity.
And
Yes.
so like that, even fragmentation within ourselves, like you'd be hard pressed to find many people who take the verse, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and apply it to anything other than overcoming sin or spiritual
Right.
things.
Right.
They're not going to apply that to how you do your job or how you do on school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a critical point. I know, like, even for us, like, we're trying to be better integrated into the community. So we take our kids to the library. We try to go out to, like, the reading programs.
Go to
'cause-
the park.
Go to the park.
We take
talk
them
to
to the
people.
mall and the Edmonton.
Yes.
Yes.
We take them to the malls. We do all this stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's been an important part for us because we want our kids to know that, like, it's not just their church community that they know.
Exactly.
Is that they're just a part of a larger community. And I think for them, they have a heart now. They see people who, don't look like them, that they don't know, and they have to learn how to talk to them. They have to learn how
Yes.
to connect with them. They
Yeah.
know how to problem solve with them. I don't want for my kids only to have Adventist friends. I don't want
Exactly.
my kids to only know Adventist people, because the reality is that doesn't make sense, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that our kids are in Adventist education, but I remember my cousin, he was saying that he's choosing to send his kids to public school because he knows when they can, but because he knows that we need people who are good children to be in the public school to be able to have an effect, and they did. And you have to know your kids and know whether or not that's a good choice, but I just think that we need to start thinking a little bit differently. We need to start doing things a little bit differently. We got to do things off the wall so that we can get different results.
I think also some of our theology shoots us in the foot. And what I mean by that is we have this idea that we should be ye separate.
Yeah.
Come away from them. Come out
of
of
the
my
world.
people.
Yeah.
But with that, we've taken that to mean that we are a peculiar people and they are there. They are
Exactly.
evil. Not understanding that there is no separation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There is no separation. And so we have to understand that we've lost our humanity.
Yeah.
And we become holier than thou, and we don't know how to be, because once you realize that you are human and you are in need of saving grace, and you're not just this holy being trying to be perfect, then you will be able to recognize and see people who are in need. When they bleed, you bleed. We've lost that human connection.
It goes even further than that. It's like, for me, I would refer to myself as being a Christian Adventist rather than an Adventist Christian. And it's not only at the Adventist denomination, a lot of Christians and other religions as well, church or mosque or synagogue for many people, it's club church.
Yeah.
It's basically a religious country club.
Yeah.
A religious social club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And almost everything that we do is intuitively or subconscious or intentionally or subconsciously in reach.
Yeah. Yes,
Mercy.
it
We're
is.
doing everything to cater for ourselves, to
ourselves.
take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
We're not looking to take care of others. The only community that we even know about are outside the church folks are our family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
we do need to do better, and I think that the young people, our youth, they're ready for that. And I know some people, when I go to prayer meetings, and they're always praying for the youth, how they're so lost. And I started to do my own deep dive into where are young people. Our young people, and I know you've got studies and you've wrote papers about it. Our young people are not as lost as we'd like to believe. You know, they're at Starbucks and they're reading books and they're having community there. They're doing run clubs. They are starting like community organizations. They're starting food banks. Like our young people are in the community.
Exactly.
Because where we told them here, you know, that they don't have a space, you know, you've got to wait your
That's
turn
right.
for leadership. Oh, we don't like what you're talking about. We got to pass this through 6 different board meetings. They said, you know what, I'm going to just do it on my own. And so what they do, they're doing the work that they could have been doing here in our church.
Exactly.
They are doing it there. And I know especially with the Gen Zs, they're really big, and it's millennials too that are really big about impacting their community and about changing the world. They have a heart for that. And if we were smart about that, and if we were intentional, that could have been work that could have been galvanized within our church walls. But they are doing church. We're just not
I think
here.
people too, at the end of the day, we're social creatures, we're social beings, and we all want community. You know, there was this show back in the day called Cheers, and
Oh, yes.
you know, the song was, "You want to go where everybody knows your name,"
Yep.
and it was the local watering hole. Yes, and they all had issues, but they would meet there in community.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that we all want community. In order to have community, one scholar said that you need trust, you need belonging, and safety. A lot of the times, unfortunately, a lot of people don't find it within the church, but they'll find it other places. And so once we get to that place where we can be a safe place, where people can really feel like they can be themselves and not be judged or talked about over potluck, I think that we'll be making strides to create and foster community. But it's hard to be a part of the community when we're not community here.
Yeah.
Churches are not emotionally safe spaces.
No. And I know that, like I said, I think our young people are going to be the key to shifting that perspective. I think that talking to them and talking to their emotional EQ, like, is just, they're smart. You know, they're able to articulate themselves. I remember even like our daughter when she was 2 years old, remember? And you took her to the park and she had an incident and you yelled at her and she was upset. And I remember she could barely talk. Both our kids had speech impediments when they were,
Really?
they did when they were small.
Good thing you're a teacher.
Yeah, well, you know. Yeah, Jesus.
And you got a cousin who's Richard's daughter, is a speech therapist.
Not speech therapy. We have she's OT.
Okay.
Yeah, but
OT.
we've got it was just that they said that they would naturally grow out of it, but they didn't speak full sentences, I think, until they were like 4. Yeah. So she was 2, you know, knowing that she's got this kind of speech impediment. And I remember it was like 2 weeks after the incident. I remember you were putting her to bed and she said to you, "Daddy, I didn't like it when you yelled at me at the park." And what you said, I felt, yeah, she was 2.
Does she remember that 2 weeks later?
Yeah, 2 weeks later. And did she say I was frustrated, or did she say I was disappointed? It was one of those words, and I remember we were stunned because 1, like, you can't even spell your name at this point in time, and 2, do you even know what these words are meaning? But she used it in the right context.
Did you hear yourself talking to yourself?
Well, yeah, that's true. But it's funny just hearing the kids, like even our son, I remember he was having a rough day at school and he couldn't articulate what the emotion was, but he could tell me the color. He could say it felt like yellow, it felt like purple. And so our kids, if we are locked into them, we could see that they're really going to change the world. But they're going to change
Just
the
like Mom
world.
and Dad.
Yeah, but they're going to do it differently than we did.
Yep.
And we have to be open to be able to see the new ideas. I know even for us, like as liberal as we can be, or as open-minded as we can be, there's things that we're like, what? Why are they doing that? You know what I mean? And we have to catch ourselves because as you grow old, like that's the natural.
Older.
My knees say I'm old.
Oh yeah, my knees and my shoulders.
We have the natural tendency to kind of shut something that seems unfamiliar down. You know, music or ideas, things that we would not have thought of. We would have the natural tendency to shut it down. I think it's to our benefit to make sure that, one, we get to know our young people, spend time with them, because if you're spending time with them, you're going to be less likely to shut all their ideas down. You're going to hear them differently. You're going to be able to see that they are emotionally intelligent. They just need some mentorship. They just need some love, and they just need people to believe in them.
You all are different. It's like, I think since I was small, I really firmly believe that the key to being a good parent is remember that you were a child once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget a lot. I think Lyle is better at that than I am, and he's always like, Cherie, he's only 6. I'm like, but what's he doing then? Yeah, but it's true.
You know, even just giving them space.
It is
And a couple things you mentioned that you mentioned during your sermon as well, and I think it's almost need to go through like the same kind of experience that they went through in the wilderness. Not until that older generation died out will the mentality disappear that our young people are the leaders of tomorrow.
Well, it was funny because I remember you preached a sermon. I remember when we were in Ottawa and he preached a sermon about that. And that year, people died left, right, and center. And I said to him, babe, you know, the Lord did the work. Don't preach that again, because the Lord was out here just slaying people.
Mercy.
But yeah, I think that we just need to stay connected to our young people, stay connected to God, and I think that will be a way for us to be able to reach the needs of our community and within our church.
Okay. Last words.
I already have mine.
And any teasers for Friday's sermon?
Yeah, give the teaser.
So on Friday, the message is going to be called Set the Table.
Set the table.
Set the table.
Okay, tonight was Off the Wall.
Off the wall.
And what was...
all or nothing.
All
It really should have been all ya or nothing. But I didn't want to put the all ya because but so it's like all or nothing, off the wall, and then Friday set the table. Yeah.
Set the table.
Yeah. Final words.
I think that when we can get to the place within the church community, where we can be a safe space and we can be vulnerable, and our authentic selves, I think that's when God could really, really work. I think sometimes when we come to church, there's pretense and we put on, but I think what God is looking for is authentic worshipers.
Yeah.
There's something about authenticity within humanity that that allows for God to do some work.
Yeah.
And the reality is He knows who we are anyways. So, but we come and we put on this front and fakeness, and I think that the Spirit has a hard time sort of transcending that. But there's a part of us, what I'm saying is that we need to come and be authentic.
Yeah.
And our young people connect with authenticity. That's what they want. That's who they are. So when they come to church and it's not here, there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
And so I think authenticity is...
And it's going to take for us, especially those of us who can and that we understand, to be more vulnerable on the pulpit, vulnerable in the spaces, showing up and showing them that we can be authentic. I think sometimes we require authenticity for others without actually choosing to be authentic with ourselves, and that starts with being authentic with God. And so if you can be authentic in your prayer life, if you can be authentic with who you are and where you are and what you need, then you're going to be able to find that translates into the relationships that we have. But we've got to start modeling what we need to see.
Speaking of modeling, you two, you probably realize it. You have transformed the thinking of a lot of young people tonight. I can hug my partner, my wife, when I'm praying. Seriously, and that's just natural. I mean, seriously, it's like, oh no, this is worship time. Tin soldier.
Wow.
It's gotta be King James. Nothing but King James.
Wow. In the Jewish culture, they brought in the Sabbath with worship.
They brought it,
and their worship was between a husband and wife, and they did it every Friday. And so,
No, seriously, a lot of young people, they're discombobulated. I can be affectionate and attentive and sensitive while worshiping.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
you don't. Seriously, you
I don't
Blew
think
a lot of minds.
I don't even think that we think about that.
Yeah, we don't even think about that.
That's
Yeah.
what you're carrying.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where God created marriage, He created love, and so why not? Like I think that we need to be more open in showing people what it could look like. And we've always been honest about our ups and about our downs as well. And so young people always know, like, they know all our business.
Yeah.
And we're okay with that, but we just need them to know that, like, church it should be a safe space.
But that's the you all are very all you are very, you're unique. Most people, they'll write the book, they'll tell the sermon after they've had the vision.
Yeah.
Most people are not sharing what's going on while they're still going through the valley.
They don't know.
And I think it's not even that we're trying to. It's just who we are. Like we came yesterday. We came from marital counseling.
Yeah.
We're in marital counseling because we want to have a better marriage.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. We were telling the counselor the start of our relationship, and she was asking questions, and it was just kind of nice to go through that the experience. But all in all, it just showed us that we are real people,
Yeah.
pastor or not, title or not, we're real people.
Exactly.
And I think God has called us in our ministry to model that, to be that.
Yeah.
You do an incredible ministry
And you can
team.
make it. I just want people to know, like, good, bad, or ugly. Like, I think that we have to realize that there is a way, and that God can ordain stuff, and God can fix stuff, and God can change things. Like, I know after we had left, we were laughing because we're like, man, our story is crazy. It's wild. The therapist's face was like,
She was like,
"Whoa, okay." But I remember, like, your favorite phrase is from your grandpa.
I can make it unbroken pieces.
You can break it unbroken pieces, and I think
Can
that's
we get I can.
You can make it on broken pieces.
yeah. And so that's from the story where
Paul was shipwrecked. Yeah.
and then he just had the broken pieces of the shipwreck. And I think for us, like, I feel like sometimes our marriage has been shipwrecked, and so it was just that all we had was these broken pieces, to float on. But we floated. You know what I mean?
That's where resilience comes from.
Oh, it's building something.
You don't develop resilience on smooth seas.
Well, it's building something. I don't know. I'm learning to swim.
And I think
yeah.
it's easy to quit and to give up, especially in this generation too. Like the fragility and just the easiness to call it quits. I was told the other day that bosses are having a hard time with the Gen Z generation because if something goes wrong, they're gone. And they switch jobs quite frequently. But I think it's up to us to model and teach and educate that to stay through the tension. And I think that God does His work when we're in the tension, when we're in the crucible, when they're in the midst of it, in the heat. But we don't get to that level because we quit too soon. And I think there's so many times we could have given up and quit, even in our marriage, even with each other. But something was just like, nah, we just got to keep push through it.
Trust me, you don't want to start over. You do not want to be 67 or looking for a You do not want to be there. Trust me.
We'll keep praying for you.
Yeah. We're praying fast for you, brother.
No, this is a good opportunity. If there are any wonderful young women out there under the age of 75,
No. Significantly less than 65.
He's looking for a 40-year-old, okay?
No. That's you're going to talk about.
If you want to see the man behind the camera. Yeah.
No, you all are amazing. Absolutely amazing. But another topic for another day. The whole submission thing. Like, I know you don't call yourself Night Notice. The other people call you Night Notice, but you keep calling yourself Cherie Notice.
Oh, it's because it's simple.
Or fewer syllables. But that's for another day.
Yeah, Night Notice just sounds terrible, but I would if I could. If I could pull it off, I would. But yeah, I know that we're always open. We're open, but we're open about even the topic about submission and what that looks like in our context too, because I think that looks very different than others. And so but yeah, we were open. We'll do this again. Most
Christian men have serious issues they start a verse late. They don't start with submitting one to another.
Right.
Love to God.
Husband, love your wives. Yeah.
They start with I'm gonna take the Bible, beat her into submission.
I'm hard to beat. I can tell you that
I
much.
think when you're secure within yourself,
Thank you.
You don't need to
Thank
you
you.
don't need to do a lot of things once you're secure and settled
Exactly.
within yourself. When you see actions and behavior like that, there's something within the person that's not settled. They're not secure within themselves. But if you get to that place, you'll realize that you never have to use force.
Nope.
You know, a lot of us are using force when we don't understand our power. And I think that when you are secure,
Yes.
you don't need to be fighting and pushing.
That's right.
Things will open, things will come, things will appear and work with you, so to speak.
So you guys need to come out on Friday. Well, you should come out tomorrow. Tomorrow they have the small groups, but we'll be back on Friday.
Back online on Friday.
Back online at Friday at 7 p.m. right here at Scarborough Adventist Church. The title of the sermon is called Set the Table, and we're going to be talking about, like, how do you go forward? I think that one's going to be a powerful service. I'm not going to give it away, but I feel like for a lot of our young people, even our adults, I encourage you to come out because I think that we need to be together in this moment as we kind of send off our young people into the Global Youth Day services on Saturday. And so we've got some stuff planned for them on Friday. So come on out at 7 p.m.
Come on out and hear the preacher, powerful. You know, a lot of people ask me too, like, oh, how do you feel? You know, your wife's preaching, or she's preaching more than you these days. You know, does that make you feel? I'm like, praise God. Praise God. You know how much it takes to prepare a sermon, 40 hours? 50? I'm glad she's preaching. Preach on, Sister Cherie.
Wow.
Preach.
You're like Linda Randall's husband, and who's the other one? Who's it? And Cece, Alvin Love, Cece's husband.
Okay, yeah.
Perfectly content to be a supportive husband behind the scenes.
Yeah, you'll be back. You know, you'll be back. Yeah. Look out for him, guys. He'll be on a poster coming to you near soon. Right.
Do you all ever minister together?
Like preach together?
Preach, teach, workshops?
We've done
workshops
together. I think we preached once
Do
together.
you realize what you just did? if this was elementary, jinx.
Yeah.
You realize that, eh?
I remember that.
So yeah, we've done some stuff together. But you've got your own style. Yeah.
Everybody has their own style.
I know, but like, he's got his own. He needs space. He needs.
When you teach a child, you go back
I'm walking, but you walking it.
I do. So can
but
you
you don't go
imagine?
into the.
No.
Yeah.
She doesn't walk. She prances and dances. Listen, on Sunday? No, it's Sunday.
Sunday.
I had to put my camera onto A1 servo. Catching action.
Yeah, I gotta get my steps in. Like, this is my gym time.
We're kind of similar in that way, then. You know, we're moving, we're roving. You
But
know?
I think that's why I'm saying to both of us together, like doing this on the stage.
there's a lot.
Like,
That's a lot.
The camera is mad. The camera people, they mad. Like,
That's because you're lazy.
yeah. Yeah, but we'll see you guys on Friday. 7 p.m. We'll be here. All right.
Amen.
God bless.